Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It's Natalie. It's Hot Shot Adventures. Welcome back, you guys. I'm unable, right, this week to share with you my own revenue recap, but I'm very proud of Joe. Joe just completed his first week alone last week, and I wanted to share those numbers with you guys and share the pictures of the loads that he completed and all of that good stuff. Very proud of Joe. As quickly as I booked the loads, he was moving on them. His speed is very good. So it's not that the truck generated less revenue because he was slow. He was not slow at all, and his days were very full. He only worked 5 days, Monday through Friday. He hauled a total of 8 loads, and we're going to get into the breakdown, and I'm going to show you guys pictures of all of the loads that he hauled. He got to haul my company's first oversized load this week, which was really neat. Unfortunately, it wasn't me that got to do it, but I did find an oversized load for Joe, and so he took care of that. There was another load this week that, the broker said it was 4 pieces, 2,000 pounds, paying for $450, and then we showed up to the shipper and it was 8 pieces, and they scratched out 2,000 pounds and put 4,000 pounds. So I got to call the broker up. Joe caught it. We stopped the loading process, and I got to call the broker up, and I renegotiated for another $200. So that brought it up to $650. So we are working very well together. Joe is a pleasure, and everything anybody could ask for in a driver I get with Joe. So, but again, this video is not about Joe. This video is about me breaking into a new market and how I felt and how did it go, right? So being that normally I run out of California, I wanted to take last week, a full week, and I always tell you guys, run tests, do trial runs, test the waters, see how things go. So last week I wanted to specifically run intra-Texas loads only. That was my test for last week. And it wasn't quite local, right? If you consider local as under 100 miles from your home terminal, then it wasn't local, because we did, Dallas and Austin to Laredo to Houston to back to, so he ran a bunch of miles, but they were all in the great big state of Texas, okay? So we're going to go over the loads per day, and I'm going to show you guys pictures over here in a little bit. He did very, very well. The truck grossed $3,510 total for the week, which generally speaking is a lower week for me. But you have to be able to ride that wave. And there's no clock in time. There's no set amount of days. There's no there's no, today, every day you clock in at 6 o'clock. It's not like that, so I have to have the flexibility in start times and end times and days that I work and how far I'm willing to go, in order to make this type of business work for me. And then the flip side to that is I also have the flexibility in saying when Natalie is off, when Natalie is home, when I get to shut things down. So you got to be able to ride that wave, okay? Some weeks I gross $7,000 or more. And then the next week I could gross $3,000, or like this week, last week was $3,510. That's not the best amount of money, right? But for 5 days, 8 loads, and 1,600 miles, all miles from the time that Joe left the yard on Monday morning, the truck odometer reading was 139,180 until the time that he parked the truck back at the yard at the end of his shift on Friday, which was 140,808 miles on the odometer. So if we subtract those two numbers, that leaves us with 1,628 miles, all miles for the 8 loads that he hauled. Now, if we divide, right, the gross revenue of $3,510 by the miles, the total miles, which is 1,628 miles, we get a rate per mile of $2.16 per mile, all miles. So that's not bad for his first week on his own, me trying to break into a brand new market, filling out broker contracts. I mean, I felt like a newbie all over again last week because I'm trying to do different searches on the load board. I'm trying to, make contacts. I'm trying to schmooze brokers. I'm trying to do all that stuff all over again. And I really did. I felt like a newbie all over again. And it's okay. It's one of those things. I wanted to test the waters. He held up the pace with me, and we got all this stuff done really, really quickly. All right, so let's get into the loads, and let me share with you guys some of these pictures and some of these cool things that Joe got to haul while he was in Texas without me. So on Friday, let me back up. On Friday, I had booked a load for Joe to pick up on Monday. After calling the shipper, it had to pick up at 2 p.m. on Monday afternoon. So it left us with the whole morning potentially that we could do something. So all Monday morning, I was looking on the load board. I found a load that was actually going like 15 or 20 miles. That's what the broker said. And the broker said it was a truckload of pallets, 300 pallets. We had to pick up from one place and deliver to another place. It was supposed to be paying $300. Well, we get to the shipper, and the purchaser, which was destination, actually only bought 50 pallets. So called the broker. I was like, it's only 50 pallets. Here's the picture. And we still got $300. And it was actually not 20 miles away from point A to point B. It was like 9 miles. So we made $300 on 2 straps, taking 50 pallets 9 miles down the road. And it filled up his morning, which was very nice. And then he went to pick up these 2 giant cages Monday afternoon. He drove back to the yard, slept in his own bed. On Tuesday morning, he woke up pretty early and took the cages to destination Tuesday morning. In addition to that one delivery, I had scheduled 3 pickups for him. The first one was an excavator bucket, which we put at the nose of the trailer that was paying $400. And the second load was a Toyota Corolla that was not running from Copart. Joe got to experience Copart for the first time. He wasn't thrilled, but he stuck with me. So we loaded this, actually they forklifted on this broke down Toyota Corolla. And the third load I found about the middle of the day or the middle of the morning, and I was very pleased. It was 2 empty water tanks, which were 10 feet wide. So we had to pull permits for an oversized load. And I've never hauled an oversized load before. So Joe actually had to go stop at a truck stop and get the, flags and the banners and everything. And the permit cost $61. So, and the load paid $700 going, it was like about 130 miles. He delivered the cages Tuesday morning, and he made 3 pickups Tuesday, and then he got down the road. Wednesday morning, he unloaded the water tanks. He unloaded those 2 water tanks at somebody's residence, and then he drove to Laredo, Texas, and dropped off the Corolla that didn't run, and dropped off the excavator bucket. In addition to those 3 deliveries on Wednesday, he did a pickup. He picked up a Mazda CX-5 from a private party, and kind of got a little bit down the road. On Thursday, he drove the rest of the way to like South Houston area, dropped off the Mazda, and then I found him a load, which was supposed to be 10,000 pounds, 40 feet of deck space. But when we got to the shipper, it really was just 2 palletized like reams or rolls of steel or aluminum. I'm not sure what it was. But it was just these 2 little two little rolls, and it kind of irked me that the broker sold it as 40 feet of deck space. I don't like that. In hindsight, it makes it look like it's gonna be the full trailer, but it really wasn't. And I don't particularly care for this one because it was paying, well, they had it on the load board for $450, and I got them up to $5, and it was under, I don't know, it was around 200 miles or something like that. 200 miles from point A to point B. But it irked me because it's like they wanted me or us to run the load expedited, right? Or solely by itself from point A to point B, when really it was just two little pieces. It could have been LTL for the same price, and I could have added on something else to this run. But because of the time of day that it was, and the fact that Joe needed to get down the road in order to make the delivery, we had to just run it like that. Now, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, you guys, that was an expedited load. And if they wanted it, I don't care if it's 200 miles or 2,000 miles, if they wanted it done all by itself like that, I would have liked to see more on the rate. But just because of the timing and everything, it didn't work out in our favor. It still worked out, the money was fine, but I would have liked to see at least a car in addition to that little load, or, a little bit more time on the load so that we could fill up the trailer and finish, make that run make a little bit more financial sense for us. So the broker was a little bit sneaky on that one, in my opinion, but it was what it was. We did it. We serviced the customer, we serviced the load, we serviced the broker, we moved on. On Friday morning, Joe picked up that full truckload. Again, a broker sold this 4 pieces as 40 feet of deck space. And when we showed up, it was just these 4 little pallets, but the shipper actually crossed out 4 pieces and made it 8 pieces. And the total weight per the broker originally was supposed to be 2,000 pounds, but the shipper had scratched that off and wrote 4,000 pounds. So they doubled the piece count, doubled the weight. Mind you, this was a very light load, but if you're adding on weight and you're adding on pieces, I have to do more straps. I have to, spend more on diesel, whatever. So we called, Joe called me right away. He was wonderful about it. We stopped the shipper very kindly and respectfully, and we got on the phone with the broker, and I was able to change the rate on that load from $450 to $650, and get moving. You know what I mean? Get moving down the line. So he picked that up on Friday morning and dropped it off on Friday afternoon and brought the trailer empty back to the yard. All in all, that was $3,510. And like I said, 1,628 all miles, which works out to $2.16 per mile, which, even though the gross revenue looks kind of low, in my opinion, the rate per mile is decent. I like to see it a little higher, right? I like to see it a little bit higher, but it was a good week. And, fighting a new market and fighting new brokers and getting myself, situated kind of a little bit, putting a little bit of a footprint on the Texas market, was good. It was beneficial for the company, and I just kind of wanted to share that information with you. He's doing very well. He's definitely keeping up. He did 6 freight loads and 2 cars, which totaled 8 loads last week, and I look forward to seeing how the future weeks go and seeing how, what different tests that I can do in order to increase that gross number even higher, and maybe even do it a little easier, maybe do it with less miles, seeing what the hot lanes are out there and all of that good stuff. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you're new, or if you just moved to a new area and you're trying to break into it, stay strong, stay consistent, be firm about your rates, don't take it if it doesn't make sense for where you're going or the space, or if it's too heavy, don't be afraid to ask for more money. Don't be afraid to say, hey, that's not the right load for me, I'm going to go ahead and let it go. There's been plenty of times where I've walked away from a load and people call me back and they're like, and they're more willing to negotiate after they sit and think about it for a little bit. So stay strong, you guys. Be good, know your worth, and keep smiling. Keep smiling, stay positive. It gets better and it gets easier. And I'm trying to remind myself of that as well as I do this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll talk to you soon.